the circle. I use the circle the circle is the medicine of one, in a sense. The circle is one of the most ancient symbols, one of the most powerful, and it begins when our ancient ancestors, just gazing up at the sky and seeing the sun, and its circular, perfect circular, radiant form. See if we can get that. It's also used as a symbol for the solar system. The sun, the planets moving around it. It's also been used as a symbol for gold. Typically one of the most valued objects in the world. It's also used in alchemy to represent gold, and alchemy has a lot to do with transformation and actually the alchemy of your true self. Just doing this takes me into that flow of the circle. And the movement, this is creation. But you can see the circle itself, once it's formed here, it's not moving, but everything inside of it, all these things, everything, moving. But all of them, down to a single little pebble, the dot in the middle of the circle, are part of the circle. That's why the circle is with the dot, the circle dot, the circumpunct, is the symbol often for God in ancient times. I've even seen it in rock art in some of the ancient dwellings around here. So life moves within it, creation moves within it, but it's all in God. It's moving in God. It's moving in God. And it's as if creation is like this dot, or this dot, or this dot, or all these dots. It doesn't really matter. So the circle, you as the circle, it's actually more like a sphere, above you, below you, all around you. Like the sun, even though it appears as a kind of radiating disk in the sky, it's round, all the way round. So use that radiant roundness. That's who you really are. So this is a symbol of your truest self, but also a symbol for God. Or whatever you want to call the great mystery, it doesn't really matter. Everything moves within it. Everything. And when you can reside as this Well, think of this as this is the spine of your life, okay? It's still in the circle, but it's coming out of an individuality. It's coming into form. It's part of creation. Your creation coming in, okay? So, it's part of that dot. It's not the whole circle. But within it is the whole circle, because it is within the whole circle. And that is your big eye, so to speak. The eye with the line on the top and the bottom, and they unite the sky and the earth, and they join the horizons. So that's the circle, in a sense. When you go to the circle and you sit in the center as this quiet eye, which your spine moves within, but you're going to what the spine is moving within. It moves within that eye. You're going to the eye. So it's almost as if that eye is a little bit closer to being the whole circle. And as you go there and sit in that, it's a sense of actually, yes, you let this go, and you let this go. That's what happens. You go there to be quiet. At first, there's your eye. And as you sit there and you're quiet and you surrender and you give up your thinking and you don't get involved in things, that's what happens. This has always been there. Even though that seems to be it, this has always been there. Who you are is always there. But imagine that my little eye, let that be my car keys that wants to move all over the place, okay? So my little eye moves around in here a lot. And within this space, there's all kinds of history, broken pot, upside down heart, kind of a, could be beautiful, but it could be a kind of creature. It could represent emotions that get sort of, so as the movement, it's all intended to keep moving within this one. But our emotions, what we do is we stop them from moving. So they become like these little clumps within the circle that have a charge. And so as I drive through life, I keep bumping into things that are like that, and I react. And I go, get out of my way! And so I keep bumping into it, and I keep screaming, so to speak, okay? So no matter what that little thing that you didn't let move in your whole soul's history, you keep bumping into it. You keep repeating the same story because you're driving around as this little eye. You've forgotten the big eye, and you've totally forgotten who you really are, which is the dot, eye in the circle of God, of one, of the great mystery. All of it is in the circle. All of it. Everything's in the circle. It's all part of that one. You can't throw any of this out. How could you do that? You can't. You can't throw any of this out. All this gets to be here. All your thinking, all your creations, all your history, everything. It's okay. It's okay. But what happens is you think this is who you are. So you keep driving around, bumping into your old history, hating it, reacting to it, blaming people for it, and you just keep repeating it over and over, and you suffer and you're miserable and you've totally forgotten who you really are. So in a way, the medicine of one is a path of remembering that. And it's cultivating this sense of yourself first as a center. You live at the center. And then from the center, you cultivate being greater than that as compassion, so that you are practicing being who you really are to all these old, tight, little, painful, horrible, traumatic experiences, rather than keep bumping into them and reacting. Now this is okay too, by the way. This gets to be here. We're not going to throw that out. In fact, it's all part of this. This little I is this, all these things. You can't throw it out. You can't throw out what you don't like in yourself. If there is really this one, you can't throw it out. That's really the problem. Because when you try to throw something out, now you've created a split world. You've created separation. And in this one, there is no separation. It's all part of. It's the dot in the circle. Everything, every little dot gets to be here. Every little dot. All of it. Even this little teeny heart. We'll put that right in the center. But now, as you cultivate this sort of quiet, relaxed, breathing, spacious presence that invokes the feeling of the circle, the feeling of the radiant sun, one, that in a sense you are the center of the solar system, but yet you are the whole solar system. That's why this represents the solar system. It's not just the planets and the sun. It's the whole thing. They just move within it. So as you cultivate that with the very emotions that move inside of you, as you move through life and you bump into these things, rather than to go into a reaction, you notice you're present with it, you're compassionate with it, you're cultivating. It's as if with your very breath you invoke the spaciousness of the circle, and the sigh out is a surrender. And you just are okay with all of this. You're okay with it. You're loving toward it. And over and over and over again, as you are loving toward it, as you are loving toward it, over time it's as if this sort of loosens up. It loosens up. It loosens up. All these things, they loosen up. And maybe they're there just a little bit. Maybe every then you still encounter them sometimes, but in this you being the circle to everything that moves, it loosens up. It joins the circle. The energy is released back into the one of you, and then this beautiful spine that you are can come into the world and not be pulled out away. And you get to enjoy your individuality within this one. But constantly knowing that it's through you, not by you, because you are connected to this and part of this always. And you always continue to keep letting everything move. Even your thoughts get to move. You don't need to stop your thoughts. Just abide in the awareness of the circle, the presence. Leave the thoughts alone. That's what the mind likes to do. It moves, it moves, it moves. It likes to move. We'll let it move. That's the path of the circle, which is the essence of the medicine of one, because the circle is one. And being the circle to everything that moves is the path of that circle that you walk. You walk it. So it's like this. This is like walking it in a way. And as you walk it, then you walk to the center. And even sitting there is part of walking it. Even just being quiet. Quiet presence. And you can still go for a drive at times. Just don't forget who you are. Don't forget. Don't think that this is you. This is the little I of your history, of your memories, of your pain, of your trauma. And we just want to love it. But cultivate and allow. So even as you gaze up at the sun, let it remind you of your own radiant, true presence. As you gaze up at the moon, as you take in the circle of the horizon, let it invite you into this. Let your very breath invite you and invoke this. This simple dot within the circle. And even the fly buzzing gets to be here. Everything, all creation. And as you touch this, and you continue touching it, you touch this.